Hello and welcome to the Snoozy Scientist. I'm really glad you found your way here. Maybe you're winding down from a long day. Maybe the world outside is quiet now and your thoughts are beginning to soften. Whether you're lying under a warm blanket or just resting your eyes for a while, this is a gentle space where big questions take a deep breath and settle in for the night. Here we believe science can be calm. That wonder doesn't always need bright lights or fast words. Sometimes, the most fascinating things unfold in whispers, while the rest of the world is fast asleep. Tonight, we're stepping into one of nature's most mysterious routines: sleep. That beautiful, necessary thing we all do, but rarely stop to understand. What does the brain actually do when the lights go out? Why do we wake up changed, restored, and sometimes holding on to dreams that feel more real than memory? We'll explore what happens inside your mind as you drift into stillness, from gentle waves of brain activity to memory repair, from body-wide restoration to the quiet magic of dreams. It's not just rest, it's a carefully choreographed performance that happens behind the scenes every single night. And if this kind of soft science soothes you too, it would mean a lot if you gave this video a little like, subscribed to the Snoozy Scientist, or left a note in the comments telling me where you're listening from and what time your night began. It's always lovely to know where these sleepy thoughts are traveling, so go ahead, let your breathing slow. The lights are dim, your mind is ready, sleep is listening. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Why we sleep and why it's still a mystery. So, why do we sleep? It seems like such a simple question. We do it every night, or at least we try to. We close our eyes, drift away, and wake up hours later, often without remembering much about the time in between. But when you stop and think about it, sleep is one of the strangest things the human body does. You lie down, become completely unresponsive, and your brain shifts into a state that makes you unaware of your surroundings, unable to defend yourself, and totally disengaged from the outside world. From an evolutionary standpoint, that should make no sense at all, and yet across almost every species on Earth, sleep is a non-negotiable. Mammals do it, birds do it, even reptiles, and some insects show signs of sleep-like states. Dolphins sleep with only half their brain at a time, and migrating birds take short naps mid-flight. If sleep were useless or optional, evolution would have filtered it out long ago. But that did not happen. In fact, the more scientists study it, the more essential it appears to be. But here's the curious part. For all the brain scans, lab studies, and research papers, we still do not fully understand why we sleep. We know what happens during sleep. We know what goes wrong when we do not get enough. But the question of why the brain needs sleep in the first place still leaves scientists scratching their heads. It is not just about rest. Muscles can rest without sleep. You can lie on the couch all day and still be exhausted without proper sleep. So something deeper is happening, something far more complex than just taking a break. Early theories suggested that sleep was a kind of shutdown mode, like powering down a computer to conserve energy. But that idea has mostly been set aside because the brain is actually more active in certain stages of sleep than when we are awake. Instead of going quiet, the brain lights up. It replays moments from the day. It processes emotions. It organizes memories. It regulates hormones. It sends cleaning fluid through its own neural pathways to clear out waste. This is not downtime. This is maintenance mode, repair mode, recalibration mode. Sleep, it turns out, is when the brain gets to do some of its most important work. And the consequences of missing sleep are no small thing. Go one night without enough rest, and your reaction time slows, your focus slips, your mood dips. Go many nights without proper sleep, and things get more serious. Memory suffers, The immune system weakens, the risk of chronic illness rises. In extreme cases, prolonged sleep deprivation has even been linked to hallucinations and symptoms that mimic serious psychiatric conditions. So clearly, whatever sleep is doing for us, it is not optional. Some scientists believe sleep is essential for memory consolidation, that during certain phases of sleep, especially during non-REM and REM stages, the brain decides what information to keep and what to toss away. Others focus on emotional regulation, suggesting that sleep helps us process feelings and stressful experiences. Still others are exploring the idea that sleep plays a role in creative thinking and problem solving. And then there is the relatively recent discovery of the glymphatic system, which acts like a nighttime janitor, flushing out toxic waste from the brain that builds up while we are awake. Without sleep, that system simply does not operate. All of these theories are compelling, and it is possible that they are all correct. Sleep might not have one single purpose. It may serve many at once. Like a Swiss Army knife for the brain, sleep seems to sharpen memory, soothe emotion, clean house, and reboot the system all in one go. That is part of what makes it so fascinating. It is both ordinary and mysterious. It happens to us every day, and yet we still do not fully understand how or why it does what it does. So why do we sleep? The best answer we have right now is because we must. Because somewhere deep in the design of living things, rest is woven into the rhythm of survival. And maybe, just maybe, sleep is not a pause in life. Maybe it is part of life's design, a necessary intermission where the mind gets to regroup, refresh, and prepare for whatever tomorrow brings. Whatever the full answer is, your brain knows what to do. You just have to give it time, quiet, and a little space to dream. Chapter 2. Sleep isn't just rest, it's active work. When most people think about sleep, they picture stillness, quiet, rest, a time when the body and brain simply shut off for a while, like flipping a light switch. But what if I told you that could not be further from the truth? Sleep is not a shutdown. It is not a pause button. It is not even a simple rest. Sleep is one of the most active, dynamic states your brain enters all day. In fact, during some stages of sleep, your brain is busier than when you are fully awake. The only difference is that you are not aware of it. This idea might feel a little strange. We are used to thinking of action as something loud, something visible. We associate energy with motion and activity with noise. But inside your head, while you lie still and silent under the blankets, your brain is holding meetings, filing paperwork, washing the floors, reorganizing the furniture, and rewriting entire chapters of your internal instruction manual. It is working the night shift, and business is booming. Let's take a closer look. During the night, your brain cycles through different stages of sleep in a carefully timed rhythm. These stages include light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. Each one has a different role to play, and none of them are passive. In the early stages of non-REM sleep, your brain starts by disconnecting from the outside world. Heart rate slows, breathing deepens, muscles relax. But even then, your brain is not just idling, it is beginning to sort through the chaos of your day. It files away new memories. It gently nudges the stress response system to dial things down. Think of it like the opening credits of a nighttime production. The lights dim, the audience settles, and the work behind the curtain begins. As you move into deeper stages of sleep, particularly what is known as slow wave sleep or delta sleep, your brain shifts into restorative mode. This is when the big cleanup begins. The glymphatic system, a kind of waste removal pathway unique to the brain, becomes more active. It flushes out toxins and metabolic byproducts that have built up throughout the day. These substances include things like beta amyloid, which is linked to neurodegenerative diseases if it accumulates. In simple terms, while you are asleep, your brain is taking out the trash. But that is not all. Deep sleep is also the time when your body repairs itself. Tissues regenerate, bones and muscles are strengthened, growth hormone is released, your immune system recalibrates and prepares for the next day. You may look like you are doing nothing, but your internal world is buzzing with purposeful repair. Then comes REM sleep, the phase most famous for dreams. During REM, your brain is almost as active as it is during full wakefulness. Neurons fire rapidly, your eyes move beneath your lids, your breathing becomes shallow and irregular. On the outside, you appear peaceful. On the inside, it is a full-on mental symphony. REM is when your brain connects dots between old experiences and new ones. It helps you solve problems without you even realizing it. It processes emotions, helping you make sense of difficult or confusing feelings. It allows your imagination to run free, which is why dreams can be so vivid, strange, and sometimes even meaningful. Some researchers believe REM is essential for creativity and insight. You might fall asleep with a question and wake up with an answer, all because your brain kept working while you rested. Even dreams, those strange nighttime stories, are part of this behind-the-scenes work. They are not just entertainment, they may serve real cognitive and emotional functions. Your brain uses symbols, images, and emotional tones to rehearse possibilities, revisit memories, and simulate situations in a safe, low-stakes environment. So no, sleep is not passive. It is not a lazy activity or a luxury for when there is nothing better to do. It is essential maintenance. It is biological strategy. It is how your brain resets, repairs, refreshes, and gets ready to face another day. Think of it this way: if your waking life is the performance, then sleep is the backstage crew. It handles the rewrites, resets the scenery, repairs the equipment, and cues up the next act. And just like in theater, the show could not go on without it. So the next time you close your eyes, remember this: your brain is not clocking out, it is clocking in. It has a job to do, and it does it beautifully, quietly, night after night, while you rest in the dark and dream. Chapter 3: The Architecture of Sleep. When you hear the word architecture, you might picture towering buildings, winding staircases, or blueprints filled with precise lines and symbols. But what if I told you your brain has its own architecture, and it reveals itself each night while you sleep? Sleep is not one long stretch of unconsciousness. It is not a single smooth descent into stillness. Instead, sleep is made up of carefully arranged stages that unfold in a predictable rhythm, like chapters in a book or movements in a symphony. Scientists call this beautifully structured pattern the architecture of sleep. Rather than drifting into a static state, your brain follows a cycle that repeats itself throughout the night. On average, each cycle lasts about 90 minutes, and you will experience 4 to 6 of these cycles while you sleep. Within each one, your brain moves through different stages, each with its own purpose. These stages fall into 2 main categories: non-REM sleep and REM sleep. Non-REM sleep has 3 stages. The first is stage 1, the lightest of them all. This is the moment when you are teetering on the edge of sleep. Your muscles begin to relax, your breathing slows. You might feel like you are floating, or even jerk awake from a sensation of falling. It only lasts a few minutes, but it is the soft opening to the night's deeper rest. Then comes stage 2. This is still considered light sleep, but it runs a little deeper. Your body temperature drops, your heart rate slows, the brain begins to produce bursts of activity known as sleep spindles, along with larger waves called K-complexes. These unique patterns are believed to help protect your sleep by reducing your sensitivity to outside noise. This is where you spend most of your night, and it serves as a quiet foundation for everything that comes next. Next is stage 3. This is the deep sleep stage, sometimes called slow wave sleep. During this phase, your brain produces long, slow electrical waves known as delta waves. Your body shifts into repair mode, muscles are rebuilt, tissues are mended, the immune system strengthens. If someone tries to wake you during this stage, it will likely take a while for you to fully return to awareness. This is the kind of sleep that leaves you feeling truly restored. And then something remarkable happens. You enter REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement, and this stage feels completely different from the others. While your body stays still, your brain lights up. Brain activity increases to levels almost as high as when you are awake. Your eyes dart around beneath your closed eyelids. Breathing becomes less regular. Blood pressure rises slightly. And most notably, this is when dreaming becomes vivid. But REM is not just about dreams. It also plays a critical role in emotional processing, memory consolidation, and learning. Your brain takes the information from your day and starts weaving it into long-term storage. It connects new ideas with old ones. It works behind the scenes to help you understand the world better than you did the day before. Here is where sleep architecture becomes even more elegant. Early in the night, your sleep cycles are dominated by deep, non-REM sleep. As the night progresses, REM periods grow longer and more frequent. The brain begins the night by focusing on restoration. Later, it shifts toward reflection and integration. Like a well-designed structure, each part of your sleep has a function. Each stage supports the others. When the architecture is undisturbed, you wake up feeling refreshed and balanced. But when the structure is interrupted by stress, noise, light, or irregular routines, the balance is thrown off. You may sleep for a full 8 hours, but without the right proportion of each stage, the quality of your rest suffers. Think of sleep like a beautifully crafted house. Light sleep is the foundation. Deep sleep is the strong framework. REM sleep is the finishing touch, where meaning is added and the space becomes your own. All of it matters. All of it is part of your brain's quiet nightly masterpiece. So tonight, as you close your eyes, know that your mind is not drifting randomly. It is following a pattern, a rhythm, a design that has evolved over thousands of years to protect you, heal you, and prepare you for the day ahead. Sleep is not simple, it is structured, it is sacred, and it is yours. Chapter 4: NEN-REM and REM, the two big sleep categories. Every night, while your body lies still and your eyes are closed, your brain is moving through two very different yet equally important worlds of sleep. These are the two major categories of sleep: non-REM and REM. Understanding them is like learning the choreography of your brain's nighttime routine. Each plays a unique role. Each appears at different times. And together, they form the core of what makes sleep so powerful and so necessary. Let's start with non-REM sleep. The term simply means non-rapid eye movement sleep, and it covers the first 3 stages of your sleep cycle. Non-REM sleep is when the body slows down, the heartbeat eases, breathing becomes steady, brain waves move from fast and choppy to long and slow. This is the part of sleep that feels heavy, grounding, and still. It begins with light sleep, where you are just starting to drift away from the waking world. Then comes deeper sleep, where your brain enters a restorative state that is essential for physical healing, immune function, and cellular repair. Stage 1 of non-REM is the transition. It only lasts a few minutes. Your muscles start to relax, your thoughts become vague and untethered. You are not quite awake, but not fully asleep either. In this stage, the door to sleep gently swings open. Stage 2 is where the body begins to settle. Brain waves start showing short bursts of electrical activity known as sleep spindles. You become less aware of your surroundings. This is when your temperature drops and your heartbeat slows even more. If sleep were a staircase, stage 2 is the middle landing. It is light enough to be disturbed, but deep enough to begin the real work of rest. Then comes stage 3, the deepest phase of non-REM sleep. This is where the brain produces slow, high-amplitude delta waves. It is the kind of sleep you can feel in your bones. When you wake up feeling like you slept through a storm, it is because you spent good time in this stage. During stage 3, the body repairs muscles, strengthens the immune system, and performs many of the housekeeping tasks required to keep you healthy. This stage is especially important early in the night. Then, just when everything feels still and quiet, your brain changes direction. You enter REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement. This stage earned its name because of the way your eyes flicker and move quickly under your eyelids, almost as if watching something, and in a way they are. REM sleep is where dreams happen. Wild, vivid, often emotional dreams that feel as real as waking life. But REM is more than just dream time. It is when your brain processes memories, solves problems, and works through complex emotions. During REM, your brain becomes almost as active as it is during the day. It plays back images from your past, connects new thoughts with old ones, and strengthens neural pathways involved in learning and creativity. Meanwhile, your body is mostly paralyzed, a feature scientists believe is designed to protect you from acting out your dreams. Your brain may be moving, but your muscles are still. The interesting thing is that these two categories of sleep do not stay in one place all night. Your brain cycles between non-REM and REM sleep about every 90 minutes. In the first part of the night, your sleep cycles are dominated by non-REM stages, especially stage 3. This is when your body focuses on recovery and deep repair. As the night goes on, REM periods grow longer and more frequent. By early morning, you are spending more time dreaming and less time in deep physical sleep. This dance between non-REM and REM is essential. One focuses on rebuilding the body, the other focuses on refreshing the mind. You need both to feel truly rested. Missing out on one or the other, whether from interrupted sleep or poor sleep habits, can leave you feeling foggy, moody, or drained, even after a full night in bed. Sleep is not a straight line. It is a looping pattern that rises and falls with purpose. Your brain knows when to rest the muscles and when to explore the mind. This back and forth, this constant switching between the calm depths of non-REM and the vivid brightness of REM is what gives sleep its power. So tonight, as your head meets the pillow and your thoughts begin to blur, remember that your brain is not shutting down. It is shifting gears. It is moving through a carefully timed pattern that has been shaped by evolution and guided by biology. Non-REM and REM are not opposites. They are partners. They are the two sides of sleep's mysterious coin. And your brain flips it again and again until morning comes. Chapter 5, Stage N1, The Threshold. There is a moment each night when the mind loosens its grip on the day. It is quiet, subtle, and easy to miss. 1 second you are thinking about tomorrow's plans or replaying something someone said, and the next you are floating somewhere between awareness and sleep. This in-between place is the beginning of your nightly journey into rest. Scientists call it Stage N1, the first and lightest stage of sleep, but you might know it better as the moment just before you drift off. Stage N1 is the threshold. It is the soft edge of wakefulness. You have not fully fallen asleep yet, but you are no longer fully awake either. In this stage, the brain is beginning to slow down. Your body is relaxing. External sounds may still register, but they begin to feel more distant. Thoughts become less linear. The edges of your mind blur. Sometimes it feels like floating, like you are hovering above yourself. Other times it feels like fading, as if your thoughts are dissolving into the air around you. This stage usually lasts just a few minutes, sometimes even less, but it is the doorway to the deeper parts of sleep. Without it, you cannot enter the rich, restorative cycles that follow. Think of N1 as the lobby of sleep. It is not where the main events happen, but it is how you enter the building. One of the most curious features of this stage is something called a hypnic jerk. You have probably felt it before. Just as you are starting to fall asleep, your body suddenly twitches. It might feel like you are falling off a ledge or stumbling down a step that is not there. Your arms or legs may jolt, and you might even wake yourself up for a moment. Scientists are still trying to understand why hypnic jerks happen, but one idea is that as the body relaxes, the brain briefly misinterprets the sensation as falling, triggering a reflex to catch yourself. It is strange, sometimes startling, but completely normal. Another hallmark of N1 is the change in brain activity. While you are awake, your brain produces fast, active waves known as beta waves. As you begin to relax, those waves shift into alpha waves, which are slower and more regular. In stage N1, your brain starts generating even slower theta waves. This shift is like turning down the lights in a theater. The show is not starting just yet, but the atmosphere is changing. The body and brain are preparing for the performance to come. During this time, your senses begin to dim. Your eyes may roll gently beneath closed lids. Your breathing becomes more even. Muscle activity decreases. But the mind can still cling to fragments of wakefulness. You might hear someone speak in the next room, or sense the hum of a nearby appliance. Sometimes you might even experience brief visual or auditory hallucinations, a flash of light, a sudden sound, a sense that someone just whispered your name. These are called hypnagogic sensations, and they are another quirky feature of the threshold stage. They are not dreams, not yet, but more like stray signals from a brain that is transitioning from wake to sleep. Because N1 is so light, it is easy to be pulled out of it. A sudden sound, a shift in position, even your own thoughts can nudge you back toward wakefulness. That is why it sometimes takes a few tries to fall asleep. You drift in, drift out, drift back in again. It is a gentle, sometimes fragile process. Even though it is brief, N1 is important. It is your body's way of easing into the deeper cycles. Rather than dropping straight into deep sleep, the brain prefers to tiptoe into rest. This slow descent helps regulate the nervous system and prepares the body for the deeper repairs that come later in the night. Some people spend more time in N1 than others. This is especially true if you are trying to fall asleep in a noisy environment, or if you are feeling anxious or restless. In those cases, your brain may hover at the threshold, unable to move forward. But with calm surroundings and regular sleep habits, the transition becomes smoother. So the next time you feel yourself slipping away from the day, when your thoughts start to lose their edges and your body begins to sink into stillness, take a moment to appreciate this quiet threshold. It is not the deepest sleep, and it does not last long, but it is your first step into the inner world of rest, a world where the waking mind lets go, the dreaming mind stirs, and the night begins to unfold. Chapter 6, Stage N2, Light Sleep with a Purpose, and Fairwood. After you pass through the threshold of Stage N1, your body begins to settle more deeply into rest. This next stage, known as Stage N2, is where sleep begins to take on structure. It is no longer the fragile balancing act between wakefulness and sleep. You are now moving inward, away from the world, but not so far that you cannot be stirred. Scientists call this stage light sleep, but do not be fooled by the name. Stage N2 is doing important work behind the scenes. In fact, you will spend most of your night in this stage. Nearly 50% of total sleep time is devoted to N2. and there is a good reason for that. This is the stage where your brain and body begin to coordinate a shift into deeper rest. It is not as intense as deep sleep, and not as vivid as REM, but it is vital for helping your mind absorb what it has learned, and for helping your body maintain the quiet it needs to go deeper. Let's start with what happens in the body. During N2, your heart rate slows, your breathing becomes more regular, your body temperature drops slightly, muscles continue to relax. This gradual decline in physical activity gives your system time to reset. Your body is no longer reacting to the external world. It is beginning to focus inward. The parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest and recovery, becomes more dominant. This is your body's way of saying, let's pause for a while. Meanwhile, something fascinating is happening inside your brain. On the surface, it might look like things are slowing down, but under the hood, your brain is busy doing essential work. One of the most important features of stage N2 sleep is the appearance of two unique patterns of brain activity: sleep spindles and K complexes. Sleep spindles are short bursts of rapid brain activity that last for about half a second to 2 seconds. They look like little clusters of electrical energy when measured on an EEG. These bursts are thought to play a crucial role in memory consolidation. When your brain experiences a spindle, it may be working to lock in new information, transferring it from short-term to long-term storage. This means that while your body is lying quietly in bed, your brain is actually studying, organizing, and sorting through the experiences of your day. Spindles may also act as a kind of internal shield. They help protect your sleep by blocking out external stimuli. Imagine you are sleeping in a room where a car passes by outside. If your brain senses the noise, a sleep spindle might occur to buffer the disturbance and keep you asleep. In this way, spindles are like little guardians of your sleep, allowing your mind to stay on track even when the outside world tries to interrupt. K complexes, on the other hand, are large, slow waves that appear as single sharp spikes on an EEG. They are the brain's response to stimuli, internal or external, that might otherwise wake you. Think of them as the brain's way of saying, not now. They allow you to stay asleep even when something briefly triggers awareness. At the same time, K complexes may also play a role in memory and information processing. While spindles are bursts of energy, K complexes are more like deep breaths. Together, they form a rhythm that helps your brain stay both protected and productive during this stage of light sleep. Stage N2 may not be dramatic. You are not dreaming wildly. You are not in deep restoration, but it is essential for transitioning between the shallows and the depths. It allows the brain to quietly rehearse, file, and protect the mental contents of your day. It prepares the stage for the deeper, slower waves of stage N3 and the imaginative brilliance of REM. And while you may not remember this stage when you wake, it is working hard to make sure your rest is complete. It helps you wake up feeling like your mind is clear, your emotions are more balanced, and your body has begun its nightly reset. So the next time you drift into sleep and your breath begins to slow, know that even in this quiet phase, your brain is gently busy, not racing, not struggling, but weaving together the small but important threads of memory and calm. Stage N2 is the quiet middle. It is the gentle hum beneath your dreams, and without it, sleep would lose one of its most essential rhythms. Chapter 7, Stage N3, Deep Sleep and Repair Mode. After the soft drift of N1 and the quiet organization of N2, your brain enters a new territory. This is Stage N3, also known as deep sleep or slow wave sleep. It is the most restorative stage of the entire sleep cycle, the phase where your body and brain go into full recovery mode. If the earlier stages were about preparing and protecting, this one is about healing. Stage N3 is not easy to reach. It usually occurs early in the night during the first few sleep cycles. The brain must move gradually down through the lighter stages before entering this deeper state. Once there, though, everything slows to a pace that feels almost ancient. Breathing becomes slow and steady, blood pressure drops, muscle activity quiets. This is the body's true resting point. What sets stage N3 apart is the kind of brain activity that takes place here. During deep sleep, your brain begins producing delta waves. These are large, slow brain waves that roll through your cortex like steady ocean tides. They are the slowest waves in the sleep spectrum, and they signal that your brain is in a state of deep disengagement from the external world. You are not dreaming. You are not lightly resting. You are somewhere far below the surface. It is during this stage that the body gets down to the business of repair. Growth hormone is released in greater amounts, helping the body regenerate cells, build muscle tissue, and repair wounds. Bones are strengthened. Skin cells are renewed. If you are fighting off an illness, this is when the immune system becomes most active, producing cytokines that help the body defend itself. These immune signals target infections, inflammation, and other physical stressors. Without enough deep sleep, the immune system cannot do its job properly, which is why poor sleep is often linked to more frequent illness. Stage N3 is also crucial for brain health. While most of the memory sorting happens during other stages, particularly REM, deep sleep gives the brain a chance to perform maintenance that cannot happen when you are awake. One of the most fascinating discoveries in recent years is the role of the glymphatic system. This is a network that clears waste from the brain, flushing out toxins and byproducts that accumulate during waking hours. During N3, the brain's cells shrink slightly, allowing more space for cerebrospinal fluid to flow through and carry away debris. It is like a nightly rinse cycle for your brain. Because stage N3 is so deep, it is the hardest stage to wake from. If someone wakes you during this time, you are likely to feel disoriented, groggy, and confused. This experience is called sleep inertia. It is your brain's way of saying, I was in the middle of something important. That heavy, foggy feeling after being jolted awake is not just frustration, it is the result of being pulled out of the deepest layer of sleep before your mind was ready to return. This stage is also the one most associated with sleepwalking and night terrors, especially in children. These are not dreams, which occur during REM. Rather, they are automatic behaviors triggered by an unusual overlap between sleep and partial arousal. The brain is deeply asleep, but the body acts as if it is awake. It is rare, but it is another reminder of how powerful and mysterious deep sleep can be. Unfortunately, as we age, the amount of time we spend in stage N3 sleep decreases. Children and teenagers tend to experience the most deep sleep, which makes sense given their physical development. Adults still need it, but we gradually get less. Lifestyle habits also affect deep sleep. Caffeine, alcohol, stress, and irregular sleep patterns can reduce the amount of time spent in this stage, leading to fatigue, weaker immune function, and slower physical recovery. Even though you are unaware of it, your time in deep sleep is one of the most important investments your body makes. You do not dream in N3. You do not think. You do not remember. But this stage is essential for waking up the next morning with energy, clarity, and strength. It is where the body gets better and the mind rests the deepest. So when your head hits the pillow and your body sinks into stillness, know that this part of sleep is not empty. It is where healing happens. It is where the body is restored and the mind is refreshed. Deep sleep is not just a stage. It is the foundation your entire day is built on. Chapter 8: REM Sleep, the Brain's Theater. After drifting through the calm waves of light sleep and the deep stillness of stage N3, the brain enters a world that feels entirely different. This is REM sleep. It stands for rapid eye movement, but it might just as well stand for remarkable, electric, and mysterious. REM sleep is the most vivid, emotional, and dream-filled part of your night. It is where imagination runs wild, where memories are woven into stories, and where the mind seems to dance with creativity and color. The first thing that makes REM sleep unique is its name. During this stage, your eyes move rapidly beneath your eyelids, shifting from side to side as if watching something. Scientists once thought this was random, but we now believe these eye movements may mirror the visual scenes unfolding in your dreams. It is as if your eyes are trying to keep up with what your brain is projecting on its inner screen. But the eyes are just the surface. Inside your head, the brain becomes incredibly active during REM sleep. Brain scans show that in this stage, certain areas of the brain light up almost as much as they do when you are awake. These include regions responsible for emotion, memory, and visual processing. At the same time, the parts of the brain that control rational thinking and self-awareness quiet down. This unique pattern of brain activity may explain why dreams often feel real but strange, logical but illogical, familiar yet completely bizarre. Dreams during REM sleep are unlike any other part of the sleep cycle. They are vivid, emotional, and often filled with movement and narrative. You might find yourself flying through the sky, having conversations with people you have not seen in years, or visiting places that do not exist. Dreams are not just mental noise, they seem to serve a purpose. Some scientists believe they help us work through emotional experiences, allowing us to revisit stressful or confusing events in a safe, imaginary setting. Others suggest that dreams help with creative problem solving, offering new perspectives or insights we might not find during the day. While all sleep stages are important, REM is especially crucial for memory, learning, and emotional regulation. During this phase, your brain sorts through information it collected throughout the day. It forms connections, stores important details, and lets go of what is no longer needed. It is also believed that REM sleep plays a role in managing emotional balance. People who get enough REM sleep are better able to handle stress and often report better moods. On the other hand, when REM sleep is disrupted, people may feel more anxious, irritable, or mentally foggy. Another fascinating feature of REM sleep is that your body becomes temporarily paralyzed. This is called REM atonia. While your brain is active, your voluntary muscles go offline. You cannot move, talk, or act out your dreams. This might sound alarming, but it is a protective measure. If you acted out every dream, you could end up hurting yourself or others. REM atonia ensures that your dream adventures stay safely inside your mind. REM sleep does not appear evenly throughout the night. In the early part of sleep, REM periods are short. As the night goes on, they become longer and more frequent. By morning, a single REM cycle can last up to an hour. That is why dreams often feel more intense or easier to remember right before waking up. Your brain has spent more time in its theater, staging one final performance before the curtain rises on a new day. Interestingly, REM sleep is not just for humans. Many animals also experience this stage. You have probably seen a dog twitching in its sleep, paws moving as if running through a dream. That is likely REM sleep in action. It suggests that dreaming may be a deep, ancient function of the brain, shared across species and deeply woven into how we process the world. Despite all we know, REM sleep still holds mysteries. We are only beginning to understand how it shapes our minds and emotions. But one thing is certain, this stage is not just sleep. It is storytelling, it is reflection, it is rehearsal for life. So the next time you wake up from a wild or beautiful dream, take a moment to appreciate the strange magic of REM. It is your brain's private theater, open only at night, playing scenes you never auditioned for, with characters you did not cast, and stories that somehow always feel like they were meant just for you. It is memory and meaning. It is emotion and invention. It is the place where the sleeping brain finds its voice. Chapter 9: Your Brain's Nightly Schedule. Every night while you sleep, your brain follows a detailed and remarkably consistent routine. It is not a straight drop into unconsciousness, nor is it a single, unchanging stretch of rest. Instead, your brain follows a cycle, moving through distinct stages in a precise order. This rhythm, known as the sleep cycle, is repeated over and over throughout the night, adjusting slightly with each pass. By understanding this nightly schedule, we gain a deeper appreciation for just how skillfully the brain organizes its rest and repair. A typical sleep cycle lasts about 90 minutes. During that time, your brain moves through 4 primary stages, 3 non-REM stages, and 1 REM stage. This cycle repeats 4 to 6 times over the course of a healthy night's sleep. Each cycle is like a round trip through the different levels of sleep, with each stage playing its part in supporting your mind and body. The night begins with stage N1, the lightest phase of sleep. This is the threshold, where you are still partially aware of the world, but beginning to drift. N1 is short, usually just a few minutes long, but it marks the start of the journey. From there, you enter stage N2, where the body slows down even further. Heart rate drops, breathing becomes more regular, temperature falls slightly, brain activity starts to show sleep spindles and K complexes, which help protect your sleep and support memory. This stage typically makes up about half of your total sleep time. It is the steady middle ground, keeping the brain calm and organized as it prepares for deeper rest. Next comes stage N3, also known as deep sleep or slow wave sleep. This is the most physically restorative part of the cycle. The brain produces long, slow delta waves. The body repairs tissues, builds muscle, and strengthens the immune system. Deep sleep is also when the brain begins to clear out waste through the glymphatic system, a process essential for long-term brain health. Stage N3 occurs mostly in the first half of the night, and it becomes shorter in later cycles. Finally, your brain shifts into REM sleep, the stage associated with vivid dreaming, emotional processing, and memory consolidation. During REM, your brain becomes very active, while the body remains still due to a natural form of temporary paralysis. This stage plays a vital role in learning, creativity, and mental well-being. Early in the night, REM periods are short, sometimes lasting only 10 minutes, but as the night progresses, REM stages grow longer, often stretching to 30 minutes or more by early morning. This entire cycle, N1, N2, N3, REM, completes itself roughly every 90 minutes, and then the brain starts over. What changes through the night is the balance between the stages. In the first few cycles, deep sleep takes priority. The body focuses on physical recovery and essential housekeeping. That is why going to bed at a regular time is so important. If you miss the early part of the night, you miss most of your deep sleep. As the night continues, the brain gradually shifts its attention. Deep sleep becomes shorter, and REM sleep becomes longer and more frequent. The brain starts to prioritize emotional processing, memory formation, and mental integration. This shift is why dreams often feel more intense or elaborate just before waking. It is also why the last few hours of sleep, though sometimes tempting to skip, are incredibly valuable. They give your mind the chance to reflect, sort, and restore itself before you rise. If your sleep is disrupted by noise, stress, screens, or irregular habits, it can interfere with these cycles. You might fall asleep quickly but never reach deep sleep, or you might wake up before your brain completes a full REM phase. That is why even a full 8 hours of sleep can sometimes leave you feeling tired if the rhythm of your sleep was broken. Think of your sleep cycle as a series of carefully timed acts in a performance. The first act sets the stage, the second builds structure, the third brings deep restoration, and the fourth adds creativity and meaning. Skipping any act shortens the story and leaves the brain with unfinished business. Your brain's nightly schedule is not random. It is a beautifully orchestrated pattern, repeated with care and precision. It balances physical repair with emotional healing, learning with forgetting, stillness with imagination. And the best part is, you do not have to control any of it. You simply lie down, close your eyes, and let the cycle carry you. So the next time you settle in for the night, remember that your brain is not just sleeping, it is following a schedule crafted by nature itself. And every time the cycle completes, you are a little more restored than before. Chapter 10: Memory Consolidation. Filing the day away. Every day, your brain collects a flood of information. Conversations, sights, sounds, feelings, names, and numbers, bits of knowledge from work, fragments of stories from friends, facts from books or screens, and countless tiny details from ordinary life. Some of it feels important, some of it feels forgettable, but your brain takes it all in, and while you sleep, it begins the quiet, invisible process of figuring out what to keep and what to let go. This process is called memory consolidation. It is the brain's way of turning short-term experiences into long-term knowledge. It is how fleeting moments become stable memories, how what you learned in the afternoon might still be with you a week from now, and the magic of it happens mostly while you are fast asleep. Let's start with the basics. When you are awake and alert, your brain records new information through a structure called the hippocampus. This region acts like a temporary holding space. It captures experiences and stores them briefly, almost like taking notes on a chalkboard. But the hippocampus does not hold on to memories forever. It simply gathers them. For memories to become permanent, they need to be transferred to other parts of the brain, especially the neocortex. That transfer is what memory consolidation is all about. As you sleep, especially during non-REM stages, your brain begins to replay the events of your day. This is not the same as dreaming. You are not reliving full scenes. Instead, your brain reactivates certain patterns of activity associated with new experiences. It replays the firing of specific neurons in the same order they happened during learning. These replays are like practice sessions. They strengthen the connections between different brain regions, helping the memory move from short-term to long-term storage. During stage N2, those sleep spindles we talked about earlier become very important. They are thought to help coordinate communication between the hippocampus and the neocortex. Imagine two musicians playing the same song in perfect harmony across different rooms. Spindles help these brain areas sync up so memories can be transferred and stored. As you progress into stage N3, or deep sleep, the brain produces slow delta waves. These waves create a calm, stable environment that supports the strengthening of memory traces. The brain is not distracted. There is no new information coming in. This quiet, undisturbed state is perfect for memory building. Then, as the night continues and you move into REM sleep, something different begins to happen. This is when emotional memories are processed. During REM, the brain reviews experiences that carry strong feelings, whether joy, fear, excitement, or sadness. It helps to make sense of them, to file them in a way that feels safer and more manageable. This is part of why sleep often helps after a stressful day. Your brain is not just resting, it is actively making peace with what you felt. In REM, the brain also starts linking ideas together in more creative ways. It forms new connections between unrelated thoughts. This can lead to insights or sudden clarity that were not available when you were awake. You may have noticed that after a good night's sleep, a problem feels easier to solve, or a memory is easier to recall. That is no accident. It is your brain doing quiet work in the background without your conscious help. Not every experience you have during the day becomes a memory. The brain is selective. It chooses what to keep based on importance, repetition, emotion, and relevance. What you focus on, what you care about, and what you practice again and again is more likely to be stored. Sleep helps the brain decide which files are worth keeping and which can be discarded to make room for new learning tomorrow. Sleep deprivation, even just one night, can interrupt this process. When you do not get enough sleep, especially deep and REM sleep, your brain struggles to form lasting memories. You might forget things more easily, feel mentally foggy, or have trouble concentrating. This is not just about being tired, it is about the brain missing its chance to finish the job. Memory consolidation is not flashy. You do not feel it happening, but every night your brain is sorting, replaying, strengthening, and filing away the details of your life. It is turning experience into knowledge, feelings into understanding, and scattered thoughts into organized patterns. So the next time you lie down after a long day, remember that you are not just resting, you are giving your brain the space it needs to file the day away, to hold on to what matters, to let go of what does not, and to quietly shape who you are becoming, one memory at a time. Chapter 11: Emotional Sorting and Healing. Every day, we feel joy, disappointment, hope, frustration. Sometimes it is a quiet smile. Other times it is a wave of anxiety or a deep ache that lingers long after the moment has passed. Our emotional lives are rich and complex, shaped by every interaction, memory, and thought. But what many people do not realize is that emotional processing does not stop when we fall asleep. In fact, some of the most important emotional work happens only once the world goes quiet and the body slips into rest. While we sleep, the brain continues to revisit the feelings of the day. It does not simply shut them off or push them aside. Instead, it gently sifts through them, taking each emotional experience and giving it space to be understood. This process is especially active during REM sleep, the stage associated with dreaming, but it also happens throughout the other stages of the sleep cycle. Let's begin with what happens in the waking state. When we go through something emotionally intense, a stressful meeting, an argument with a friend, a joyful surprise, our brain tags that experience. The amygdala lights up, highlighting the emotional importance of the moment. The hippocampus stores it, and the prefrontal cortex begins trying to make sense of it. But during the day, the brain is also busy responding to everything else. It is focused on problem solving, alertness, and task management. That means many emotions are simply stored away to be processed later. That later comes during sleep. As we begin to rest, especially in the deeper stages of non-REM sleep, the brain starts to lower levels of stress hormones like cortisol. The nervous system calms, breathing and heart rate slow. This physiological shift creates the perfect environment for emotional healing to begin. Then comes REM sleep, the brain's emotional workshop. During this stage, memories are reactivated and played back, often through the strange symbolic language of dreams. Emotional memories are stripped of their sharp edges. The brain keeps the story, but slowly removes the intensity. This is not about forgetting, it is about softening. It is about making space between the experience and the emotional reaction so that healing can occur. If you have ever gone to bed upset and woken up feeling slightly lighter or more balanced, you have experienced this emotional reset. Your brain spent the night walking through the feeling, organizing it, and placing it in the wider context of your life. This is also why REM sleep is so crucial for mental health. People who get consistent quality REM sleep tend to have better emotional regulation, higher resilience to stress, and more stable moods. On the other hand, sleep deprivation can amplify emotional reactivity. Without sleep, the amygdala becomes more sensitive, and the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for judgment and self-control, becomes less active. This combination makes it harder to manage emotions and can contribute to anxiety, irritability, and even depression. Sleep is also critical for processing trauma. When the brain is given space and time to revisit painful experiences in a safe internal environment, it slowly helps integrate those memories. Over time, and with enough uninterrupted rest, even the heaviest memories can begin to feel more manageable. The emotional weight does not disappear, but the mind becomes better equipped to carry it. And it is not just about pain. Sleep reinforces positive emotions too. It helps you hold on to joy. It strengthens feelings of love and gratitude. The brain chooses what to preserve and gently weaves those uplifting moments into your long-term memory. Even the lighter stages of sleep, like stage N2, contribute to emotional health. Sleep spindles, brief bursts of brain activity, help protect you from being awakened and may support emotional resilience by enhancing memory stability. Deep sleep, stage N3, restores the body and resets the emotional system, giving you a stronger baseline to face the next day. So the next time you are holding onto something heavy, remember this: your brain is not ignoring it. It is waiting until you are still, until the world fades away, until you are safe enough to let go. In that quiet space while you sleep, your brain becomes a gentle caretaker. It listens without judgment. It revisits the hard parts. It wraps emotions in understanding, and it helps you wake up, ready to begin again. Sleep is not just rest, it is emotional renewal. It is where healing happens without noise, where feelings become lighter, and where your mind gently makes peace with all the things your heart could not carry alone. Chapter 12: The Role of the Amygdala and Hippocampus. In hippocampus, inside your brain, nestled deep beneath the surface, are two small but powerful regions that never truly rest. Even when you are fast asleep and the world has gone quiet, these parts of your brain are wide awake, doing some of their most important work. Their names are the amygdala and the hippocampus. Though they are tiny in size, they are giants when it comes to shaping memory, emotion, and dreams. Let us begin with the hippocampus. Its name comes from the Greek word for seahorse because of its curved, coiled shape. This part of the brain plays a key role in forming and organizing memories. During the day, as you move through life, the hippocampus gathers information about your experiences. It records what you see, hear, feel, and learn, but it does not store these moments permanently. Instead, It acts more like a temporary notebook, capturing the details until the brain has time to decide what is worth keeping. That time arrives when you sleep. In the deeper stages of non-rapid eye movement sleep, the hippocampus begins replaying the memories of your day. It sends electrical signals to other parts of the brain, especially the neocortex, where long-term memories are stored. These signals strengthen connections between brain cells and help transfer important information from short-term holding into more lasting structures. This process is why sleep is so critical for learning. It allows the brain to take what it has experienced and turn it into knowledge that lasts. While the hippocampus is focused on memory, the amygdala is focused on feeling. Its name means almond, and it sits close to the hippocampus in the brain's temporal lobe. The amygdala is the emotional spotlight of the brain. It helps you detect danger, feel joy, and respond to situations with urgency or care. During waking hours, it is active in moments of fear, excitement, or surprise, but when you sleep, it continues to work, only in a different way. During rapid eye movement sleep, or REM, the amygdala becomes especially active. In fact, it is more active during REM sleep than during any other time in the night. This is the phase of sleep when most of our vivid dreams occur. The heightened activity of the amygdala helps explain why dreams often feel so emotional. Whether you dream of something thrilling, puzzling, or deeply personal, the amygdala gives that dream its emotional tone. The hippocampus and amygdala often work together. When you experience something emotionally significant, the hippocampus records the event and the amygdala adds emotional weight to it. This combination helps explain why we remember emotionally charged events more clearly than ordinary ones. A simple conversation may fade from memory, but a joyful celebration or a painful argument tends to stay with us. It is not just the facts that make the memory stick, it is the feelings attached to them. While you sleep, especially in REM, the amygdala and hippocampus help you make sense of your emotional experiences. The hippocampus replays important moments. The amygdala allows those moments to be processed gently, without the stress or overwhelm that might come while you are awake. Together, they give you space to review and release emotional tension. This is part of why we often wake up with a lighter heart after a heavy day. Without enough sleep, however, this system becomes unbalanced. The hippocampus struggles to transfer memories. The amygdala becomes more reactive. As a result, you might find yourself forgetting things more often or feeling emotionally overwhelmed by small stresses. Over time, chronic lack of sleep can lead to increased anxiety, mood swings, and trouble managing emotional reactions. The amygdala and hippocampus are essential to emotional and cognitive health. They shape how we remember, how we heal, and even how we dream. Though they are small, their impact reaches every part of who we are. So the next time you fall asleep, know that these quiet guardians are hard at work. One is gently organizing your memories. The other is tenderly tending to your feelings. Together, they help carry the weight of your day, so that by morning you can wake up restored, balanced, and ready to begin again. Chapter 13. The prefrontal cortex takes a break. As your body settles into rest and your breathing slows, your brain begins one of its most fascinating transitions. It is a quiet shift that allows imagination to bloom, logic to soften, and dreams to unfold without boundaries. This change begins with a very specific region of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is located just behind your forehead. It is one of the most advanced and highly developed parts of the human brain. During the day, it is constantly at work. It helps you plan, make decisions, think critically, focus your attention, and weigh the consequences of your actions. It is your inner voice of reason, the manager of logic, and the part of your mind that says, that does not make sense, or think this through. Without it, daily life would feel chaotic and unorganized. But at night, something remarkable happens. As you drift into the later stages of sleep, especially during rapid eye movement sleep, when dreams are most vivid and emotional, the prefrontal cortex begins to power down. It does not shut off completely, but its activity drops significantly. That means the logical part of your brain takes a step back. It stops questioning. It stops correcting. It allows the rest of the brain to wander freely. This is one of the main reasons dreams feel so unusual. In your dreams, you might find yourself flying through the sky, talking to someone who passed away years ago, or exploring a house that seems familiar and strange at the same time. The events may shift without warning. A street can become a river, a friend can turn into a stranger, time can bend, the normal rules of cause and effect fall away. And yet, while dreaming, it all feels perfectly normal. You rarely question what is happening. That is because the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that would normally raise a hand and say, wait a minute, is on break. Instead, the emotional centers of the brain, like the amygdala, and the memory centers, like the hippocampus, take over. These areas are highly active during REM sleep. They bring intensity, imagination, and personal significance to your dreams, but they do not offer much structure. This temporary shift in brain activity is not a flaw. It is part of what makes dreaming such a powerful tool for emotional and psychological healing. With the prefrontal cortex stepping aside, the brain can explore ideas and feelings that might be too complex or overwhelming during waking hours. It can rehearse scenarios, replay memories, or create entirely new ones. The looseness of dream logic allows the mind to experiment, to reframe, and to release. You might wake up with a lingering sense of wonder, or sometimes confusion, about what you dreamed. That is perfectly natural. It is also one of the brain's ways of communicating that something important was being processed, even if it felt surreal. Interestingly, scientists who study sleep and dreams have noticed that people who frequently recall their dreams often show slightly more activity in certain parts of the brain, including the prefrontal cortex, during REM sleep. These individuals may have more vivid or coherent dreams, but for most people, the drop in prefrontal activity is what gives dreams their magical, unpredictable quality. This shift also highlights just how carefully balanced the sleep cycle is. The brain does not shut down at night. It reorganizes, it reprioritizes. It allows the rational voice to rest so that deeper emotional and creative processes can rise to the surface. The prefrontal cortex gets a well-deserved break, while the rest of the mind takes over in soft and mysterious ways. When you awaken, the prefrontal cortex gently comes back online. It helps you make sense of the day. It helps you organize your thoughts and make decisions. But for a few quiet hours each night, it steps aside and lets the dreaming brain run free. And so, while you sleep, logic loosens its grip. Reality becomes more flexible. You step into a world where anything can happen, and your brain uses that freedom to explore, repair, and imagine. This is not chaos, it is healing. It is the night shift of the mind, guided not by rules, but by something far older and wiser, the language of dreams. Chapter 14, Creativity. While you sleep, as the world dims and the stars begin their quiet watch, your body relaxes and your thoughts begin to untangle. What may surprise you is that during this gentle descent into sleep, your brain does not grow quiet. It becomes a garden of ideas. Beneath the stillness, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Your brain starts to rearrange information, make new connections, and spark creative insights in ways that waking logic alone cannot manage. This is the hidden gift of sleep. It does not just rest the body, it unlocks imagination. Creativity, at its core, is the ability to see old things in new ways. It is not just painting or writing poetry, it is solving problems, dreaming up ideas, and discovering patterns that were not obvious before. During the day, the conscious brain is focused on order and structure. It follows rules, deadlines, and routines. But at night, something shifts. The brain enters a more fluid state, and in that state, creativity is given space to bloom. Sleep researchers have long studied the link between sleep and creativity, and the results are both fascinating and inspiring. One of the most powerful examples of sleep-driven creativity comes from the world of science. It is said that the chemist Auguste Kekulé discovered the ring structure of the benzene molecule after dreaming of a snake biting its own tail. He had been struggling with the problem for years, but the answer came only after his mind was free from conscious thought. The solution was born in the liminal space between sleep and wakefulness. In another case, the inventor Elias Howe, who created the modern sewing machine, had been frustrated by a technical challenge. Then, in a dream, he imagined being attacked by warriors carrying spears with holes in their tips. When he woke, he realized that placing the hole near the tip of the needle was the answer. What seemed strange in the dream became a breakthrough in the light of day. Artists, writers, and musicians have also found sleep to be a wellspring of inspiration. Paul McCartney once said that the melody for the song Yesterday came to him in a dream. Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, credited a vivid dream with giving her the core vision for the story. Even Salvador Dali, the surrealist painter, would nap while holding a spoon above a plate. When the spoon fell and woke him, he would immediately sketch the strange images he saw in the moments just before waking. But you do not need to be famous to experience the creative magic of sleep. Every person has the capacity for dream-fueled insight. During REM sleep, the brain becomes especially active in regions connected to emotion, imagery, and memory. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for strict logical thinking, steps back. This shift allows the brain to form unusual connections, to explore ideas without the inner critic getting in the way. You may have noticed this yourself. Perhaps you have gone to bed with a problem and woken with a fresh perspective, or you have dreamed of something unexpected that offered a new way of thinking. This is not coincidence. It is your brain quietly working behind the scenes, sorting, reshaping, and innovating while you rest. Even dreams that seem random or bizarre can reflect deeply creative processing. They often pull together memories, emotions, and fragments of thought from different parts of your life. In sleep, these fragments are allowed to mix freely, and from that mixing, entirely new thoughts can arise. Daytime creativity also benefits from what happens during non-REM sleep. In the early parts of the night, your brain consolidates memories and clears out mental clutter. It strengthens useful connections and prunes away the ones you no longer need. This sets the stage for clearer, more original thinking when you wake up. So when people say sleep on it, there is wisdom in that phrase. Sleep does not just give your body rest, it offers your mind a new canvas. It allows you to dream not only of what is, but of what could be. In a world that often rewards nonstop activity, it can be easy to see sleep as a pause, but in truth, sleep is a kind of secret rehearsal, a place where creativity whispers and ideas quietly bloom. So the next time your mind feels stuck or your inspiration runs dry, give yourself the gift of rest. Let your dreams wander, let your thoughts float, and trust that while you sleep, Your imagination is still very much awake. Chapter 15: The Default Mode Network. Background thinking. There is a quiet hum beneath our thoughts. Even when we are not actively thinking, problem solving, or focusing on the world around us, the brain continues to work in gentle, mysterious ways. This quiet mental hum is known as the default mode network, and it plays a fascinating role in how we think, feel, and dream. It is the part of the brain that takes over when we are not trying to do anything at all. Imagine sitting by a window, watching raindrops fall, your mind wandering freely, or drifting off in bed, remembering a conversation from earlier in the day, or wondering what life might look like 5 years from now. That soft, spontaneous reflection, that effortless stream of thought, is the default mode network in action. Scientists discovered this network while studying brain scans of people at rest. They noticed that certain regions of the brain lit up even when the person was not doing anything specific. In fact, these areas became more active when the person was relaxing or daydreaming than when they were solving a puzzle or performing a task. It was a surprising discovery. The brain, it turns out, is never truly idle. The default mode network includes several key regions of the brain, such as the medial prefrontal cortex, the posterior cingulate cortex, and parts of the parietal lobe. Together, they form a circuit that is deeply involved in self-reflection, memory, imagination, and emotional understanding. When we think about ourselves, recall past events, or imagine future possibilities, this network becomes active. What is even more fascinating is that the default mode network does not switch off during sleep. In fact, during certain stages, especially rapid eye movement sleep, it becomes quite active. This helps explain why dreams often feel personal, introspective, and emotionally charged. Your mind may revisit old memories, explore past relationships, or invent future scenarios. These dreamscapes are not random. They are shaped by the same inner processes that guide our waking reflections. The default mode network is also linked to creativity because it allows the mind to wander and make connections across time and experience. It provides the mental space needed for original ideas to surface. While focused thinking narrows the mind's view to a single point, the default mode network opens it up. It lets thoughts float freely, combine, and shift in unexpected ways. In sleep, this background thinking continues. Your brain revisits what matters. It checks in on unresolved emotions, sifts through recent memories, and explores who you are becoming. This is why sometimes we wake up with a new perspective or a feeling we cannot quite explain. The mind has been quietly working, reorganizing itself in the background. Importantly, this network also plays a role in emotional healing. It allows you to reflect on your experiences without judgment. It gives your mind the space to gently hold sadness, joy, confusion, and hope without being overwhelmed by any one feeling. During sleep, this reflective space may help you release emotional tension or find new meaning in something difficult. It is worth noting that disruptions to the default mode network have been linked to certain mental health conditions, such as depression and anxiety. When the brain is unable to rest or reflect properly, negative thoughts can become repetitive and rigid. That is why healthy sleep, which supports the natural rhythm of this network, is so essential for emotional balance and mental clarity. Even though you may not notice it, your brain is always in motion, not just in the sense of solving problems or reacting to the outside world, but in the deeper sense of self-awareness. The default mode network is part of the reason we have a continuous sense of self. It connects our past, present, and future. It gives shape to our inner life. So the next time you lie in bed and your thoughts begin to wander, do not be in a rush to quiet them. Let them drift. Let your mind move gently through memory, wonder, and feeling. Know that this too is part of the brain's nightly work. In the calm of sleep, the default mode network becomes a quiet companion, softly helping you reflect, imagine, and grow, even when the rest of the world is silent. Chapter 16: Sleep and the Body Clock. Circadian Rhythm. Your body is home to many rhythms. Some are quick and fleeting, like your heartbeat or the rise and fall of your breath. Others are slower, more subtle, woven into the passage of each day. Among these quiet patterns is one of the most important systems in your body, your circadian rhythm. It is your internal clock, quietly keeping time as you move through your daily life, and it plays a powerful role in helping your brain know when to sleep and when to wake. The word circadian comes from the Latin word circa, meaning around, and diem, meaning day. It refers to a cycle that repeats roughly every 24 hours. This rhythm is not something you have to think about. It is automatic, hardwired into your biology. From deep within your brain, it influences your sleep, your alertness, your hunger, and even your mood. At the center of your circadian rhythm is a tiny region of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It is located in the hypothalamus, just above the place where your optic nerves cross. This small cluster of neurons is like the conductor of your internal orchestra. It receives signals from light, especially sunlight, and uses them to adjust the timing of your body's functions. When the morning light reaches your eyes, even with your eyes closed, that light sends a message to the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This signal tells your brain that it is time to wake up. In response, your body begins to release hormones like cortisol, which increase alertness and energy. Your body temperature rises, your heart rate increases, you feel more awake and ready to face the day. As the sun sets and light fades, the opposite process begins. The absence of light signals to your brain that night is approaching. In response, your pineal gland begins to produce melatonin, a hormone that makes you feel sleepy. Your body temperature starts to drop. Your energy levels fall. You begin to feel the pull of rest. This natural rhythm prepares your body for sleep long before you close your eyes. This daily cycle is not just about sleep and wakefulness. It also affects how your body uses energy, repairs tissue, regulates blood pressure, and manages digestion. It influences the timing of almost every major system in your body. That is why disrupting your circadian rhythm by staying up late, traveling across time zones, or spending too much time under artificial light can have wide-reaching effects. It can lead to fatigue, mood swings, difficulty concentrating, and even long-term health issues. The circadian rhythm also explains why your body tends to feel sleepy or alert at certain times of day. Most people feel a natural dip in energy in the early afternoon. That is part of the body's rhythm, not a sign of laziness. Similarly, night owls and early birds often have slightly different circadian patterns. These differences are partly genetic and affect when people feel most alert and creative. Sleep scientists have found that keeping your sleep and wake times consistent helps strengthen your circadian rhythm. When you go to bed and wake up at the same time each day, your body becomes better at knowing when to wind down and when to rise. This makes it easier to fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling refreshed. Exposure to natural light during the day, especially in the morning, helps reinforce your internal clock. So does reducing bright light at night, particularly blue light from screens. Even small choices, like dimming the lights in the evening or stepping outside in the morning, can help your circadian rhythm stay on track. Your circadian rhythm is not just a timer, it is a quiet guide that keeps your body in harmony with the natural world. It tells you when to move and when to pause, when to focus and when to let go, when to be alert and when to rest. So tonight, as you prepare for sleep, remember that your body knows the way. Deep inside, there is a rhythm that rises and falls with the turning of the earth, a clock that does not tick loudly, but whispers gently, a rhythm that reminds you when it is time to wake and when it is time to dream. Chapter 17, Hormones in the Night, Melatonin and Cortisol. As the sun dips below the horizon and the sky begins to darken, your body quietly shifts gears. Long before your eyes close or your thoughts begin to slow, a gentle chemical dance begins inside you. This dance is led by two key hormones, melatonin and cortisol. These silent messengers help guide your body through the rhythm of night and day, influencing when you feel sleepy, when you feel awake, and how well you rest. Melatonin is often called the sleep hormone, and for good reason. As evening approaches and the light begins to fade, your brain starts to release melatonin into your bloodstream. This hormone is produced by a small pine cone-shaped gland deep in the center of your brain called the pineal gland. Though it is tiny, it plays a powerful role in preparing your body for sleep. Melatonin does not knock you out like a sleeping pill. Instead, it acts more like a signal. It tells your body that it is time to start winding down. It lowers your body temperature slightly, slows your heart rate, and gently encourages drowsiness. You may not feel its arrival as a sudden change, but rather as a soft invitation. Your eyes grow heavy, your thoughts become less sharp. You begin to feel the weight of rest pulling you inward. Melatonin levels typically rise in the early evening, peak during the middle of the night, and gradually decrease as morning approaches. This natural cycle is closely tied to your body's circadian rhythm and is deeply influenced by light, in particular blue light, the kind that comes from screens and artificial lighting, can suppress melatonin production. That is why sleep experts often recommend dimming the lights and limiting screen use in the hour or two before bedtime. Giving your body darkness is like handing it a quiet lullaby. It helps melatonin do its job. On the other end of the sleep-wake cycle is cortisol. Often called the stress hormone, cortisol is actually vital for keeping you alert and ready to face the day. While it is true that high cortisol levels during the day can be linked to anxiety or stress, cortisol itself is not bad. It is essential. And like melatonin, it follows a daily rhythm. Cortisol levels begin to rise in the early morning hours, even before you wake up. This increase is part of what gently nudges you from sleep to wakefulness. It boosts your blood sugar levels, increases your metabolism, and helps you feel energized. This natural spike, called the cortisol awakening response, prepares your body to take on the day. It is like a quiet engine that starts warming up before the alarm clock rings. As the day goes on, cortisol levels gradually decrease, allowing your body to transition into a calmer, more restful state. By evening, cortisol is usually at its lowest point, making space for melatonin to rise again. When this rhythm is working well, the handoff between these two hormones feels seamless. You wake feeling refreshed, you grow alert through the day, and you become sleepy again as night approaches. But when this balance is disrupted by stress, irregular sleep patterns, or too much artificial light, problems can arise. If cortisol stays high at night, you may find it difficult to fall asleep or stay asleep. If melatonin is suppressed, your body might not receive the signal to rest. This is why routines and habits that support natural light exposure, consistent sleep schedules, and stress management are so important. Some people take melatonin supplements to help with sleep, especially when adjusting to a new time zone or dealing with occasional insomnia. While melatonin can be helpful, it is important to remember that it works best when used in harmony with natural sleep hygiene. Creating an environment that supports your body's own hormone rhythms is the most sustainable path to healthy rest. Your brain and body are not guessing when to sleep and wake. They are listening to signals, responding to cues, and following a beautifully timed internal script. Melatonin and cortisol are not just chemicals, they are storytellers, guiding your body through the quiet transformation of night into day and back again. So the next time you feel sleep tugging at you or wake with a burst of morning energy, know that these invisible helpers are at work. They are part of the gentle orchestra within you, playing a tune that echoes the turning of the earth and the rise and fall of the light. Chapter 18. What happens when you don't sleep enough? Sleep is more than a break from the day. It is not a luxury or a bonus. It is a vital need, as essential as food, water, and breath. And yet, in a world that moves fast and celebrates productivity, sleep is often the first thing to be pushed aside. We tell ourselves we will catch up later. We drink another cup of coffee and push through the tiredness. But when we do not get enough sleep, our bodies and minds begin to show the strain. The effects may be quiet at first, but they are deep and far-reaching. The first thing many people notice after a night of poor sleep is mental fog. Simple tasks feel harder, concentration slips, words are slower to form. It becomes harder to solve problems or think clearly. The brain depends on sleep to reset and organize itself. Without enough rest, your short-term memory becomes cluttered and your ability to focus weakens. You might misplace your keys or forget the name of someone you just met. It is not a personal flaw, it is your brain asking for rest. Emotions also begin to lose their balance. The part of the brain responsible for regulating mood, the amygdala, becomes more reactive when sleep is lacking. You may find yourself feeling irritable, anxious, or unusually sensitive. Things that would normally feel small can suddenly seem overwhelming. At the same time, the brain's ability to process and calm those emotions weakens. Without enough sleep, you are more likely to feel stressed and less equipped to handle stress when it arises. Physically, your body begins to struggle too. One of sleep's most important roles is to support the immune system. During deep sleep, your body produces proteins called cytokines that help fight infection and inflammation. When sleep is cut short, the production of these proteins decreases. This makes it harder for your body to defend itself against illness. People who consistently get too little sleep are more likely to catch colds and take longer to recover when they do get sick. Sleep also affects the balance of important hormones that regulate hunger, metabolism, and energy. When you are sleep deprived, the hormone that tells your brain you are full, leptin, goes down, while the hormone that signals hunger, ghrelin, increases. This combination can lead to increased appetite, especially for high-calorie or sugary foods. It is your body's way of trying to boost energy quickly, even if it does not serve you well in the long run. Your heart and blood vessels also feel the effects of too little sleep. During healthy sleep, your blood pressure naturally drops, and your cardiovascular system has time to rest. Without enough sleep, this process is disrupted. Over time, chronic sleep deprivation can increase the risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, and stroke. Even your appearance can shift with ongoing lack of sleep. The skin loses its healthy glow, dark circles and puffiness become more noticeable. Collagen production slows, which can lead to premature aging. While these changes may seem cosmetic, they reflect deeper shifts happening beneath the surface. Your body is working harder than it should, without the rest it needs to restore and rebuild. And yet, sleep is forgiving. Even a small improvement in your rest can make a noticeable difference. One good night of sleep can bring back mental clarity. A few days of better rest can lift your mood. Over time, consistent sleep can restore your immune system, regulate your appetite, and improve nearly every area of your health and well-being. The good news is that your body wants to sleep. It knows how to rest. Sometimes it just needs permission. A quiet room, a gentle routine, a chance to let go of the day. When you honor that need, you are not being lazy or unproductive. You are giving your body and mind what they were always designed to receive, healing through rest. So, if you are tired, listen to that signal. Your body is not betraying you. It is reminding you of something ancient and wise, that true strength is built not just in motion, but in stillness. That clarity does not always come from thinking harder, but from allowing the brain to reset, and that a well-rested mind is not only sharper and stronger, it is kinder, more resilient, and better able to meet the world with calm. Chapter 19: How the Brain Cleans Itself at Night. Glymphatic system. Every night, while you drift into the gentle depths of sleep, something remarkable begins to happen inside your brain. It is not just resting or dreaming or reshaping memories. It is cleaning itself, not with brushes or mops, but with a beautifully designed internal system that quietly goes to work as you sleep. This is called the glymphatic system, and it is one of the brain's most important nighttime operations. During the day, your brain is busy. It processes everything you see, hear, feel, and think. Neurons fire rapidly, creating new connections and forming memories. Just like any hard-working engine, this activity produces waste. Tiny byproducts build up between brain cells as you go about your daily life. These include proteins like beta amyloid and tau, which in large amounts are believed to contribute to diseases such as Alzheimer's. During waking hours, the brain does not have much time to deal with these leftovers. It is too busy keeping up with the demands of the day. But at night, when you sleep, especially during the deep stages of non-REM sleep, your brain shifts into a completely different mode. The glymphatic system becomes active. This system was only discovered in the last decade, and scientists are still learning just how vital it is. It is named after the lymphatic system, which removes waste from the rest of the body. The brain, however, is separated from the body's lymphatic system by the blood-brain barrier, so it needs a system of its own. The glymphatic system works by circulating cerebrospinal fluid through the brain's tissues. This fluid moves along tiny channels that surround blood vessels in the brain. These channels are formed with the help of cells called glial cells, which support and protect neurons. That is where the glymphatic name comes from, a blend of glial and lymphatic. As you fall into deep sleep, your brain cells actually shrink slightly. This creates more space between them, allowing the cerebrospinal fluid to flow more freely through the brain's tissue. The fluid washes away metabolic waste, flushing out the buildup from the day. Imagine a gentle river flowing through a quiet forest, clearing away fallen leaves. It is not noisy or aggressive. It is slow, steady, and essential. This process does not happen as effectively while you are awake. In fact, studies have shown that the glymphatic system is nearly 10 times more active during sleep than during waking hours. That is one of the reasons why deep sleep is so crucial for brain health. It is not just about feeling rested the next day. It is about long-term protection, preventing the buildup of harmful substances that can affect memory, thinking, and emotional balance over time. When sleep is disrupted or shortened, the brain may not get the chance to fully clean itself. Over time, this can lead to problems with cognitive function. You may notice that your thinking feels slower, your memory is not as sharp, or your emotions are harder to manage. This is not just from tiredness, it may also be from the gradual buildup of waste that your brain did not have time to clear. The discovery of the glymphatic system has changed how we understand the purpose of sleep. It is no longer just a time for restoration or dreaming. It is a time for deep maintenance, for detoxifying the very system that allows you to think, feel, and be. Sleep, in this sense, is like a nightly rinse for the mind, a sacred period when the brain refreshes itself so it can start anew. There is even evidence that lifestyle habits supporting good sleep, such as sleeping on your side, staying hydrated, and reducing stress, can help the glymphatic system do its job better. Just like a house is easier to clean when it is quiet and calm, the brain does its best cleansing work when you give it the right environment. So the next time you lie down at night and begin to drift away, remember what is happening behind the scenes. While your body rests and your mind lets go of the day, your brain is hard at work, clearing the way for tomorrow's thoughts. It is a process that speaks to the elegance of nature and the intelligence of the body, and all you have to do is close your eyes and surrender to the rhythm of sleep. The cleaning crew is already on its way. Chapter 20: Dreams, the brain's storytelling side. Every night, as your body slips into the quiet stillness of sleep, your brain begins to weave stories. Strange, vivid, beautiful, and sometimes unsettling tales unfold behind your closed eyes. These are dreams, the mysterious narratives crafted by your mind while the rest of you rests in silence. Though they may seem random or surreal, dreams serve powerful functions. They are not just background noise. They are a reflection of the brain's deep inner life, touching emotion, creativity, memory, and even problem solving. Dreams are most vivid during the stage of sleep known as REM, or rapid eye movement. During this time, your brain is highly active, even though your muscles are deeply relaxed. The eyes flicker beneath the eyelids, the heartbeat becomes irregular, and breathing grows more rapid. But on the inside, the brain lights up. Visual regions, emotional centers, and memory hubs all come alive, piecing together fragments of your thoughts, memories, and experiences into something new. In this dream state, the brain becomes a storyteller, but unlike waking thought, dreams are not bound by logic or time. They are loose, fluid, and often symbolic. A hallway might turn into a forest. A long-lost friend may speak in a stranger's voice. The prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for rational thinking and decision-making, quietly steps aside during REM sleep. This allows imagination to take the lead. Without the usual filters, the brain explores ideas freely, combining details that would never meet during the day. This freedom is part of what makes dreams so creative. Many artists, musicians, scientists, and inventors have found inspiration in dreams. Paul McCartney once said, "The melody for yesterday came to him in a dream." The chemist Auguste Kekule dreamed of a snake biting its own tail, leading to his discovery of the structure of the benzene molecule. Even Mary Shelley's vision for Frankenstein began in a dream. In dreams, the mind is not limited by rules or expectations. It experiments, reimagines, and creates. But dreams are not only creative, they are deeply emotional. During REM sleep, the brain reactivates emotional memories, especially those tied to fear, joy, sadness, or conflict. In doing so, it helps you process and make sense of your feelings. If you have ever dreamed about a situation that upset you during the day, you are not alone. This is the brain's way of working through emotional experiences in a space that is safe and private. Some scientists believe that this emotional processing helps reduce stress and prepare you to face similar situations with more calm. Dreams may act like a soft rehearsal, allowing you to explore fears or hopes in a symbolic language. Over time, this nightly reflection may help you build resilience and emotional balance. Problem solving is another quiet function of dreaming. When you sleep, especially during REM, the brain continues to work on puzzles, dilemmas, and questions that linger in the background. It reviews memories, runs through possible scenarios, and sometimes reaches insights that feel like sudden revelations upon waking. This is why people often say they slept on it before making a decision. In truth, they may have dreamed on it too. Though we still do not fully understand why we dream or how dreams are formed, it is clear that they are more than mental noise. They are a space where the brain explores, heals, and grows. Dreams help you revisit the past, imagine the future, and find meaning in the present. They offer perspective in a symbolic way that language sometimes cannot. Even dreams you forget may still play a role. The emotional and cognitive processing that happens during dreaming does not always require conscious memory. Your brain benefits from the act of dreaming, even if you do not remember a single scene. It is like reading a story with invisible ink. What matters is not whether you saw the words, but how the story shaped you. So tonight, as you fall asleep and the world grows quiet, your brain will begin its storytelling once again. The characters may be strange, the scenes may shift without warning, but behind every dream is the gentle work of your mind, processing, imagining, and healing, and all you need to do is rest. The storyteller within you will take care of the rest. Chapter 21: Sleep Disorders and What They Reveal. Sleep is meant to be a time of restoration and balance. When it flows naturally, it helps the brain organize thoughts, process emotions, and heal the body from the inside out. But for many people, this peaceful process is disrupted. Instead of drifting gently into sleep, they lie awake for hours. Instead of waking refreshed, they feel exhausted or disoriented. Sleep disorders are more than just disturbances in rest. They are windows into the deeper workings of the brain and clues to the complex rhythms that keep the body and mind in harmony. Let us begin with one of the most common sleep disorders, insomnia. This is the inability to fall asleep, stay asleep, or feel rested after sleep. For some people, it is a temporary issue brought on by stress, change, or worry. For others, it becomes a long-term struggle. Insomnia often starts in the mind. Thoughts race, worries repeat. The body may feel tired, but the brain refuses to slow down. What this reveals is how closely linked sleep is to emotional and mental health. Anxiety, depression, and even unspoken stress can interfere with the gentle shift from wakefulness to rest. The brain must feel safe in order to sleep. If your inner world is loud or unsettled, sleep may become difficult to access, and this lack of sleep only makes it harder to regulate emotions, leading to a difficult cycle. People with insomnia may feel alone in their struggle, lying awake while the world sleeps, but they are far from alone. Understanding insomnia as a signal rather than a flaw can help people begin to heal. It invites a gentler approach to rest, one that addresses the root causes rather than just the symptoms. On the opposite side of the spectrum is narcolepsy. This rare condition causes sudden and uncontrollable episodes of sleep during the day. A person might be in the middle of a conversation or walking down the street when their brain suddenly shifts into REM sleep. They may also experience cataplexy, a sudden loss of muscle tone triggered by strong emotions like laughter or surprise. Narcolepsy shows us how delicate the brain's sleep-wake balance truly is. It suggests that behind the scenes, specific systems in the brain that regulate alertness and dreaming are not functioning as they should. In people with narcolepsy, the boundary between sleep and wake becomes blurred. The brain's ability to control when and how it sleeps breaks down. This tells scientists that sleep is not just about closing your eyes and drifting off. It is a coordinated event involving many parts of the brain working in sync. When one part misfires, the entire rhythm can fall apart. While narcolepsy is challenging, it also highlights how finely tuned and interconnected the brain's sleep systems truly are. Another mysterious and sometimes unsettling sleep issue is sleepwalking. This occurs during deep non-REM sleep, often in the early part of the night. A person may sit up, walk around, or even perform complex tasks with no awareness of what they are doing. They may have open eyes and respond to voices, but their brain is caught between sleep and wake. The thinking part of the brain is mostly asleep, while the movement centers remain active. Sleepwalking shows us that different parts of the brain can sleep at different times. It also reminds us that sleep is not an all or nothing state. The idea that we are either fully awake or fully asleep is an oversimplification. In truth, the brain moves in and out of sleep in layers and waves. When those transitions do not happen smoothly, unusual things like sleepwalking can occur. Other sleep disorders, such as restless leg syndrome, sleep apnea, or night terrors, reveal even more about how closely the body and brain are connected during sleep. They show how the nervous system, respiratory system, and emotional brain can each play a role in shaping the quality of rest. Although these disorders can be distressing, they also offer valuable insights. They teach us that sleep is not a simple switch we flip each night. It is a delicate, intricate dance between many systems in the brain and body. And when one part of that dance is out of step, the entire rhythm can be thrown off. By studying sleep disorders, scientists continue to learn how sleep really works and how deeply it affects every part of our lives. For those who live with sleep challenges, understanding what is happening inside the brain can bring both comfort and hope. With the right support, many of these conditions can be managed or improved. Sleep is powerful, and even when it stumbles, it still holds the potential to teach us, to heal us, and to connect us more deeply to the rhythms of being human. Chapter 22: Do Animals Sleep the Same Way? Sleep is not just a human experience. Across the animal kingdom, from birds soaring above clouds to whales gliding through the ocean, creatures of all shapes and sizes take time to rest. But how they sleep and what their brains do during that sleep can vary in fascinating ways. Some animals sleep in ways that are surprisingly similar to us, while others have developed remarkable adaptations to survive in their unique environments. Let us begin with mammals. Because their brains are structured much like ours, mammals tend to sleep in similar patterns. Most go through stages of both non-REM and REM sleep, just as humans do. This includes dogs, cats, rats, and even elephants. If you have ever watched a sleeping dog twitch its paws or let out a quiet whimper, you may have seen REM sleep in action. During this stage, the brain becomes active, and many animals appear to dream. Scientists have observed that rats replay their daytime experiences during sleep, which suggests that their brains also engage in memory processing, much like ours. Primates, such as chimpanzees and gorillas, share an even closer sleep pattern with humans. They often build nests or resting spots, settle into deep sleep cycles, and show signs of dreaming. This may not be surprising, given how similar their brain structures are to ours. But even among primates, there are differences. Some sleep for longer periods, while others break up their rest into shorter sessions depending on their environment and risk of predation. Birds also sleep, and many of them experience both non-REM and REM sleep. However, they have a fascinating ability called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. This means that one half of their brain can remain awake while the other half rests. This allows them to sleep with one eye open, literally watching for predators, while still giving their brain a chance to recharge. Dolphins, seals, and other marine mammals share this adaptation. Since they need to surface regularly for air, they cannot fully lose awareness the way land animals can, so they rest one side of their brain at a time, keeping the other side alert enough to swim and breathe. This kind of sleep reveals something incredible. Sleep is so important that even animals who cannot afford to go completely unconscious have found ways to protect it. The brain needs rest, and evolution has ensured that even in the most demanding environments, sleep still happens. Some animals sleep in brief bursts, known as polyphasic sleep. Horses, for example, often sleep standing up for short periods throughout the day and night. They may only lie down when they feel completely safe. Giraffes sleep very little, often less than 2 hours in a full day. Yet even in that short time, their brains find a way to cycle through necessary rest stages. Bats, on the other hand, can sleep up to 20 hours a day, tucked away in their dark roosts. Reptiles also show signs of sleep, though their sleep cycles are different from those of mammals and birds. Some studies suggest they may experience REM-like states, but this is still being researched. Amphibians and fish sleep too, but they do not show the same clear brainwave patterns that scientists associate with REM or deep sleep. Still, their behavior suggests a need for rest. Many become less responsive, reduce movement, and seek out safe spaces while they sleep. Insects and other small creatures follow yet different rhythms. Fruit flies, for example, enter a state that resembles sleep, and when deprived of it, they show signs of fatigue and impaired functioning. Even tiny creatures with simple nervous systems demonstrate the universal truth that sleep, or something like it, is essential. What unites all these diverse sleep habits is this: the brain, no matter how big or small, needs time to reset, to repair, and to process. Whether it is a zebra resting under a tree, a seal drifting through ocean currents, or a bird perched on a branch with one eye open, sleep plays a role in survival and well-being. In the quiet moments when animals close their eyes, their brains whisper the same truth that ours do: that sleep is not a weakness, it is a strength, a timeless rhythm that connects species across the planet. And while the shape of sleep may vary from one creature to the next, the purpose remains beautifully the same. Rest is sacred, and in every corner of the natural world, sleep tells a story of balance, resilience, and life itself. Chapter 23: The Future of Sleep Science. As we close our eyes each night and drift into the quiet, mysterious world of sleep, scientists around the globe are wide awake, exploring what happens behind the scenes. Sleep has always been one of the most captivating frontiers in human biology. It is deeply personal, yet universal. It shapes how we think, feel, and function. And now, with rapid advances in technology, neuroscience, and artificial intelligence, the future of sleep science promises to take us deeper than ever before. For centuries, sleep was a mystery wrapped in silence. Early thinkers saw it as simple rest, a time when the body and mind powered down. But as tools like EEG machines and brain imaging emerged, we began to see the brain's remarkable activity during sleep. Today, researchers are not only watching brain waves, they are building smart tools that help us understand and even improve the way we sleep. One of the most exciting developments is wearable sleep technology. These are devices that you can wear on your wrist, finger, or even place under your pillow. They track patterns like heart rate, body temperature, movement, and breathing. Some even monitor oxygen levels or subtle changes in brain activity. By analyzing this data, these devices provide a personalized snapshot of your sleep cycles. They can show you how long you spent in deep sleep or REM when you were restless, and how refreshed you are likely to feel the next day. Beyond personal wellness, this kind of real-time tracking offers researchers a powerful tool. Large pools of sleep data can help uncover new patterns in sleep disorders, mood changes, and mental health. It allows scientists to study sleep in real-world conditions, not just in sleep labs. This opens the door to a deeper understanding of how environment, lifestyle, and even digital habits affect our sleep rhythms. Artificial intelligence is another breakthrough in the world of sleep science. AI algorithms are now being used to analyze massive data sets of brain activity, searching for patterns that human eyes might miss. These systems can sort through millions of data points from sleep studies, helping identify links between sleep and everything from memory loss to emotional resilience. In clinical settings, AI is helping doctors diagnose sleep apnea, insomnia, and restless leg syndrome more accurately and quickly. One of the most imaginative areas of sleep research is dream mapping. Scientists have long wondered what happens during dreams, and now, with advanced brain imaging tools, they are starting to find out. By scanning brain activity during REM sleep, researchers can identify which regions light up when someone is dreaming of a face, a movement, or a place. In some cases, they have been able to match dream content with brain patterns, creating early versions of dream decoding. While we are still far from watching a full dream on a screen, we are taking the first steps toward turning dream research into something more concrete. Virtual reality is also playing a role. Some researchers are using VR environments to simulate dreamlike experiences while awake, then comparing brain activity during those simulations with actual sleep states. Others are exploring how VR might help treat sleep disorders, easing anxiety before bed, or guiding users through calming scenarios that promote relaxation. Sleep labs are becoming more immersive and adaptive too. New environments use gentle lighting, ambient sounds, and temperature control to replicate the comforts of home while still allowing detailed monitoring. This reduces stress for participants and produces more natural results. Even more futuristic ideas are on the horizon. Some scientists are working on targeted memory reactivation, which involves playing subtle audio cues during sleep to reinforce specific memories. Others are testing electrical stimulation techniques to deepen sleep or enhance dreaming. The idea is not to disrupt the natural flow of sleep, but to guide it gently toward healing, learning, and creativity. What all of this means is that sleep science is no longer just about observing, it is about interaction, about discovering how we can work with the brain's natural rhythms to improve rest, mental health, and even personal growth. Still, with all these advances, the heart of sleep remains the same. It is a deeply human need, a time for quiet restoration, a space where the conscious mind lets go and the inner world takes over. As we move forward into this high-tech era, the challenge will be to use these tools wisely, remembering that the goal is not to control sleep, but to understand it. The future of sleep science is not only promising, it is poetic, because in the soft, silent hours, when the world fades away, we may be discovering the keys to wellness, memory, and even the soul. and all of it begins with the simplest act of closing your eyes. Chapter 24: Small Ways to Support Your Sleep Tonight. Sleep is not just a nighttime event, it is the gentle result of everything that came before it. From the moment you wake in the morning to the final minutes before you close your eyes, every choice you make can quietly shape the quality of your rest. If sleep has felt difficult or restless lately, know that change does not always require a complete overhaul. Often, the most powerful shifts come from small, consistent steps. Here are some gentle, science-backed ways to support your sleep tonight. One of the most powerful tools for better sleep is a regular routine. Your body thrives on rhythm. It likes to know when to expect things. By going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time each day, you help train your internal clock to fall asleep more easily and wake feeling refreshed. Try to keep this schedule even on weekends or days off. Consistency sends a signal to your brain that sleep is a trusted part of your daily flow, not a random event. Along with timing, what you do before bed matters. Creating a wind-down ritual can make a big difference. This does not have to be complicated. Think of it as a gentle cue to your body that rest is on the way. Maybe you dim the lights and read a few pages of a book. Perhaps you take a warm bath, stretch quietly, or make a cup of herbal tea. The goal is not to force sleep, but to soften the edge of the day. When your brain sees the same calming steps night after night, it begins to associate them with safety and sleep. Light plays a major role in your ability to fall asleep. Our brains are designed to respond to the rise and fall of natural light. Bright light tells the brain to stay alert. Darkness invites melatonin, the sleep hormone, to rise. In the hours before bed, consider dimming the lights in your space. Turn off overhead fixtures and use small lamps or warm-toned bulbs. This gentle transition can ease your body into rest mode. Equally important is limiting screen time in the final hour before bed. The blue light from phones, tablets, and televisions can trick your brain into thinking it is still daytime. This delays melatonin and makes it harder to feel sleepy. If you enjoy reading or watching something at night, try switching to a paper book or using a blue light filter. Better yet, replace screen time with something tactile and relaxing, like journaling or drawing. Temperature can also influence sleep. Most people sleep better in a cool room, somewhere between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body naturally lowers its core temperature as you fall asleep. A slightly cooler environment supports this process. If the air is too warm or stuffy, your body may struggle to fully relax. You might also experiment with breathable fabrics or lighter bedding. Sometimes what you do during the day impacts how easily you sleep at night. Getting natural sunlight in the morning, even for 10 minutes, helps reset your body clock. Gentle movement during the day, such as walking, stretching, or yoga, can also support deeper sleep later on. And while caffeine can offer a boost in the morning, it is best to avoid it after midday. Even if you do not feel wired, it may still linger in your system and affect your sleep quality. If your mind tends to race at bedtime, try a grounding practice. This might include writing down your thoughts in a notebook, practicing slow breathing, or listening to soft instrumental music. Guided meditations or nature sounds can also help quiet the mental noise. These small practices do not require perfection. The goal is not to silence every thought, but to create space for stillness to settle in. Above all, approach sleep with kindness. It is not a task to master or a problem to fix. It is a relationship to nurture. Some nights will be easier than others. That is okay. By offering yourself small moments of care and routine, you gently guide your body back into rhythm. Tonight, let your room grow quiet. Let the lights grow dim. Let the day unwind with softness. Trust that with every breath and every small decision, you are shaping a sanctuary where sleep can return, and in that stillness, healing begins. As we bring this gentle journey to a close, take a slow breath in through your nose and release it softly through your mouth. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let yourself settle into the quiet comfort of this moment. You have just explored the vast, beautiful world of your sleeping brain, a world that comes alive when the rest of you grows still. While your eyes close and your muscles relax, your mind begins a secret symphony. It restores your body, files away your memories, balances your emotions, and creates vivid dreams that swirl like soft colors behind closed eyelids. All of it happens without effort, without command. Just as your heart beats and your lungs breathe, your brain knows exactly what to do. And that is the wonder of it. Sleep is not a pause, it is a process, an essential one. Every night, your brain becomes the healer, the architect, the storyteller. It washes away the debris of the day. It clears paths for new ideas. It rehearses, rewires, and renews. And all you need to do is allow it. Let the unfinished thoughts drift like clouds. Let the noise of the world fade like a distant echo. Nothing urgent lives here. No demands follow you into this soft space. Tonight, there is only this breath, and the next, and the quiet miracle of being cared for by your own body. Whether you sleep deeply or lightly, whether your dreams are vivid or distant, trust this: your brain is gently working behind the scenes, guiding you through every stage with wisdom older than words. You do not have to earn sleep. You do not have to force it. All you need to do is surrender to it. So let this be your invitation. Let yourself rest. Let yourself be renewed. And as you do, we invite you to make this part of your nightly routine. If this journey brought you comfort, insight, or peace, please consider subscribing to the Snoozy Scientist. Every week we share calm, carefully crafted stories that blend science, wonder, and rest, designed to help you fall asleep with curiosity and ease. Leave a comment below to tell us what part of your sleep you are most curious about, or simply write "good night" to let us know you were here. It helps others find this peaceful space too. And if someone in your life could use a moment of calm, share this episode with them. Your small act might give them the gift of rest tonight. Now, let your eyes grow heavy. Let your breath grow deep. Let sleep wrap around you like a quiet sea. Your brain knows the way. Good night, dear friend. May you rest in wonder. And remember, sweet dreams always begin with stillness.